name is Ruha Benjamin. I'm a professor in sociology and African American studies, and it's my great pleasure to welcome you here on behalf of the Office of the Student of Deans, the Department of Anthropology, the Center for the Study of Religion, Culture, and World Affairs, as well as the Department for International Relations. Here we are at the fourth in a series of screenings and conversations in the Boston area this weekend to kick off an important new initiative called Education Under Fire, which is advancing the universal right of education by focusing on an extreme case of the denial of that right among Baha'is in Iran. To get us started, I just want to say a word about the genealogy of Boston University, a genealogy that reveals that the right to education is more than an abstract ideal and platitude for us. This commitment is in our DNA, part of the conception by our abolitionist founders who understood the power of educational access to address social ills in the aftermath of slavery. Part of our gestation as the first university that opened all its divisions to women, the first to award a PhD to a woman, and was the first co-ed medical college in the world. And so this right to education is part of our development as the first university to grant a medical degree to an African American woman, the first to hire an African American Howard Thurman, a dean, to serve as dean for the first predominantly white university, who went on to mentor Martin Luther King, who walked the same route to class as you now do. Perhaps less well known is that at a time when xenophobia was on the rise against Japanese Americans, our university insisted on admitting Japanese students, so that while officials on the West Coast were forcing people into internment camps, BU was admitting them to college. And most relevant perhaps for our gathering today, Boston University was among the first, if not the first, institution in the world to officially recognize the grassroots university in Iran that's the focus of the documentary and discussion today. So after the Iranian government was busy going to great lengths to shut down this underground institution, BU was admitting one of its graduates to the master's program in social work here. This willingness to stand on principle in the face of injustice, institutional daring, shall we call it, is part of our DNA and should make us proud. Proud, but not self-satisfied. Because what can easily get overshadowed in overemphasizing these token firsts is what lies beneath it, always bubbling, sometimes erupting, and that's the commitment and courage of students who push the institution to respond to issues of social justice and human rights. You, the students, who easily get written out of the institutional development story in favor of the great man version. And so as a consequence, you may not always realize your own power to affect change. One quick example before we get on to the main act. BU students in the 80s faced expulsion by the university for hanging anti-apartheid signs outside the dorms, including one sign that said, "Tyranny reigns with good people do nothing." The students eventually won a lawsuit against administrators who kept removing their signs and trying to expel them. The BU Student Union at the time joined with student unions across the country to challenge the university administration to stop investing millions of dollars into the South African economy. This collective action on the part of students in the US and bolstered the anti-apartheid movement in South Africa, contributing to the eventual downfall of that inhumane system. So while the extent of human rights violations may have changed and strategies may be different now, what hasn't changed is that international dissent against injustice, spurred by students, can lead to social transformation. Perhaps the main hurdle to get over is a lack of confidence in what can come from unified action. So today's film and discussion is part of a larger Education Under Fire effort to unify our actions and animate the kind of global solidarity and accountability that shakes us out of our daily routines and forces us to ask the question, what do we owe each other? From Johannesburg to Boston in the 80s, from Tahrir Square to Oscar Grant Plaza in Oakland last month, to Tehran to a dysfunctional office near you this week. Our collective consciousness is wrestling with this question: what do we owe each other in the face of injustice that threatens our humanity? To move the conversation along then, I welcome someone who really needs no introduction, human rights activist, actor, and comedian, Mr. Rainn Wilson.
So much. Thanks for the warm welcome. That was, what an amazing talk that was. That's incredible, the history of BU and all the stuff that this college has done. That's fantastic. I had no idea. Thanks so much for having me. I know you guys are busy in your class schedules and whatnot, and thanks for taking time out and showing up at this time. Really, really appreciate it. It's very hard for me because I love to sit up here and I love to tell jokes for 25 minutes, but yes. Unfortunately, someone said yes. No, I can't. I'm not really here for that. You know, this is a film that I really want to support. It's a cause that's very near and dear to my heart. I want to share it with you guys and with the other students and faculty and deans of Boston. We've been at many other colleges in our short stay here. We're going to have a panel discussion afterwards. You were handed note cards when you came in, so if you have questions that come up for you during the film, feel free to write those down on the note cards. And there's also very much a call to action that you've also been given on a piece of paper here, and we'll talk more about what you specifically can do about this just devastating situation, human rights situation in Iran. So enjoy the film. We'll meet the filmmaker and the producer, and I'll talk a little bit more afterwards. Thanks so much.